Hello everyone, we are going to continue with the topic nutrition in plant. This is the first chapter and we have to complete 3 more topics which are included in that chapter. That is the other mode of nutrition, saprotrophs and synthesis of food other than carbohydrate. So other mode of nutrition, what does that mean? It means that whether the plant who cannot synthesize their food, do they have another method to synthesize their food? So let's see, there is the plant which lack chlorophyll. So what they do, they depend upon the other plants like cuscuta. Have you seen a cuscuta? Yes, here you can see cuscuta. This is a plant which can climb on a tree. You might have seen a thread-like structures which are forming, twining around the trees, covering over the whole trees. So these cuscuta, they climb on a tree, and on the tree on which they climb, it is called the host. And because cuscuta is climbing on a tree, it is called parasite. So you can see here as it is written, the plant on which the cuscuta climb is called the host, and cuscuta is known as a parasite as it takes the nutrients from the host. So cuscuta is a parasite. It is a thread-like structures. It uses the plants to grow and cover all over themselves. Now you can see the other picture of cuscuta. You can see how they cover the whole plants, or you can see on the tree cover, and they are yet parasite. Now there are other plants like insectivorous plants. So these plants, what they do, they trap the insects. As the name indicates, insectivorous. So insectivorous means they are feeding on insect. So these plants which trap insect and take the nutrients from them are called insectivorous plant. So they depend upon insect because in their body or the place where they are living, there will be deficiency of nitrogen. So example of insectivorous plants are Venus flytrap and pitcher plant. So there I'll show you the picture of the pitcher plant. So you can see here the pitcher plant is the shape of a pitcher, or it is also called a jug. So it is a modification of the leaf. Now as you can see, one insect is coming, butterfly is coming and sitting to collect the nectar in the pitcher. And as soon as it enters into the pitcher, the lid which you see here, it covers the insect, and the insect gets trapped inside it. And there are certain juices secreted by this pitcher plant which when released digest these insects, and they will absorb the nutrients from these insects and utilize it for their growth. Next we have Venus flytrap, which also comes under the same example. As you can see here, the insect is coming and you can see certain hair-like structures are present. So they are very attractive, and the insects, they come there because they are attracted towards the color and also the nectar. So as soon as these hair-like structures, they are moved, the two ends, they will just cover themselves, cover it and trap the insect. So the insect will be trapped and the juices secreted by the Venus flytrap will digest the insect. So insect is trapped there and cannot come out. Another example is Drosera. This is a very beautiful one, just appear like the droplets of water on their tips. So they are also very beautifully, brightly colored, and they are very sensitive. They have, you can see, hair-like structures present. So as soon as one insects come to just sit there, so these will turn, the hair-like structure will turn and trap the insect, kill them, will not allow these insects to come out of their clutches, and then they take up the nutrients from them and then they release them. By the time, nothing will be there in their body. So we learned in this module, we learned about the other mode of nutrition. Here we learned about the cuscuta, which is a parasite, and on the body on which they live, they are called host. Then we learned about the insectivorous plant. Example we learned is the Venus flytrap, Drosera we learned, as well as we learned the pitcher plant. Okay, so next let's move on to the next topic, that is the saprotrophs. Saprotrophs, example, very colorful mushrooms, or even though if they are not colorful, they are dull white in color, they are mushrooms. So mushrooms generally they are called fungi, and mushrooms they are made up of more than one cell, so they are called multicellular. Okay, so some of them they are very colorful, some of them they are not colorful. So everything is not edible. Some of them are quite poisonous. The one which look very beautiful could be poisonous. So what are they? They are nothing. They are called fungi. They comes under the group called fungi, and they secrete certain amount of juice outside their body, and they will grow, especially during the rainy season. They grow on the dead and decaying matter, or the place where there is dead leaves are present, and they secrete their juices, and these juices will digest the material, dead material, decaying matter, and convert them into a solution, and these solutions are absorbed into their body. So nutrients are taken from these dead organisms and absorbed into their body. So this mode of nutrition is called saprotrophic nutrition, and the plant which use this mode of nutrition are called saprotrophs. So we have learned about the autotrophs and we are learning about heterotrophs. So the saprotrophs are a type of heterotrophs because they also depend upon the other organisms for their food. So this you can see, especially during rainy season, you might have seen certain colors which are there on the open bread. So these are called bread mold. So you can see here the enlarged version of the fungus which is growing on the bread. So they have brown patches, the water moisture will be there in the atmosphere, and the nutrients are available in the bread. So they grow, they develop certain hair root-like structures, and they absorb the nutrients from the bread and they grow. So they will appear gray patches, and it's not good to eat those bread. Now let's see the symbiotic relationship. The relationship in which two organisms live together and share shelter and nutrients is called symbiotic relationship. So relationship is something where there's a give and take is there. So symbiotic means some organisms, they are living together and they are sharing the shelter as well as the nutrients from each other is called symbiotic relationship. Okay, so this is a very important point, symbiotic relationship. Now you can see here the examples. Some organisms, they live together and share shelter and nutrients. So example, fungi, which is living in the roots of the tree. So the fungi sometimes lives along with the roots of the tree. So, and lichen is an association with algae and fungi. So that is a very important point, lichen. About lichen we'll be again learning in the coming chapters. So lichen is an association, means they are combined. Lichen is a term where the algae, you can see green color in the water, patches on the wall. So algae. So they are green color because they have the pigment chlorophyll, they can synthesize their own food. But fungi, we just learned they are saprophytes, they cannot synthesize their own food, they depend upon dead and decaying matter. So these fungi and algae, they combine together and their association is called lichen. So fungi will provide shelter because fungi, they cannot provide their food, they depend already upon others for food. So they can provide only shelter. Shelter means home, water and minerals, whereas algae, because they are green in color, they provide food by photosynthesis. So understood the association? Fungi provide water, minerals and shelter. The algae provide the photosynthesis. So as both of them are together, this association is called lichen. So let's see certain pictures of lichen. This way you can see on the trees, coconut tree or any bark of the tree you can see. So these lichens, they are great pollution indicator also. Wherever pollution is there, they will not grow. So in your area, if you see on the bark of the tree, if these are not growing, it shows that your area is highly polluted. Okay. Now lichen, let's learn about lichen. In lichen, as I told you, there are two parts, algae and fungi. The chlorophyll containing part is called algae. Very important question. One word question, 1 mark question, or give reason why algae, which is the chlorophyll containing part. Why algae is called the producer? Because they contain the chlorophyll. So chlorophyll containing part in the lichen is algae. Whereas the fungus, they provide shelter, water and minerals. Now, the next topic is about legume plants. Legume plants, they are examples like gram, peas, mung, beans, etc. are coming under legume plants. They are called leguminous plants. Now, what is their advantage is that these plants can require large amount of nitrogen to make protein. So, they can trap easily the nitrogen which is available in the soil. They can fix the nitrogen and they make protein. So there is a bacteria called rhizobium. Rhizobium is a bacteria which is living in the soil. So they are bacteria which will be living everywhere in the soil. But when they come closer to the roots of the pulse plant, they will enter in through the roots and they will live inside the cells of the root. And they will help to trap the nitrogen and give it to the plant so the plant can synthesize protein. So example are gram, peas, mung, beans, etc. So let's learn about the rhizobium. Rhizobium is a bacteria. It lives in the soil. Now it can fix nitrogen. So you can see here in this figure, there's node-like structures are present. So if you uproot a pulse plant or a groundnut plant or a pea plant, you can see, if it is very mature plant, you can see node-like structures. So it is the place where these rhizobium bacteria will be living. So bacteria cannot make its own food. So they get the food from the plant, and the plant, they get the nitrogen by the help of this bacteria. So there is also a symbiotic relationship. So it lives in the root of the gram, bee and other legumes, and it provides the plant with nitrogen. So in return, what the plant provides? Shelter. Okay, and it also provides food to the bacteria. So this is again another example of symbiotic relationship. So you learn two examples of symbiotic relationship. One is lichen, another one is the association between the rhizobium and the pea plant. So what is the farmer getting benefit? Farmer do not have to always add manure or fertilizer into their field. They can they can have a crop rotation, or in between on the sides of the field they can grow this pulse plant. So this plant can provide rich amount of nitrogen in the soil. So the next plant which are grown in its place can have large amount of nitrogen. So farmer gets benefit because they don't have to apply fertilizers, and these rhizobium, they fix the nitrogen. So nutrition in the soil. So nutrition, we know nutrition is needed by the plants for their growth. Just like we require, humans require, or any animals require a balanced diet for their full growth, in the same manner, the plants also require nutrients. If there's a deficiency of these nutrients are there in the soil, then the plant will not grow properly. They will not grow proper leaves, flowers, fruits will not be produced, or leaves will fall down, or there will be lines on the leaves, diseases on the leaves, curling of the leaves. So various symptoms, the deficiency will be shown on the leaves if there is the less nutrients are there in the soil. So plant will absorb minerals from the soil. So usually when the plant absorbs the minerals from the soil, there will be a deficiency of minerals will be there in the soil. So the amount of nutrients naturally will decline in the soil. So the nutrients which are needed to be added from time to time. So the farmers have to add nutrients. You might have seen your mother will be adding waste, kitchen waste to the soil. So that will causes increase the humus content in the soil. So the microorganisms, they will feed onto these waste and they will increases the richness of the soil, fertility of the soil, nutrient content of the soil. So hence always nutrients are added time to time. Or what should we do without adding nutrients? We have to grow the legumes.